on the same level, and they will tell you, but you know this place. We are going to see our mistress, and then you will go in a secret garden, and there you will see all the sublime drawing of Javat, just like yesterday. Before yesterday, one of the brothers were speaking about Javat, and you'll see this particular garden that Brishabhanu Maharaj built for Srimati Radharani, and there, by a very special mercy, there are so many qualified devotees there. Rupa Manjari, Ananga Manjari, Rasa Manjari, Ravanga Manjari. Many different sakis are there, and you will see a passage will open, just like the ocean opened mystically, so that Moses can pass. But then it's on a different platform. It's in Braj. You see that the whole path will open, so that you can go to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And there you will see it's very sweet. It's extremely sweet. You become more and more sweet and qualified. This is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, of our acharyas. There's not only in the chanting that the experience can be attained. The experience, it comes when Krishna or Radharani desire it. And the experience can happen even when you speak to anybody, because it is something that is mystical. The transcendental world, Braj, is in the heart. So when it manifests, no matter where you are, no matter what you do, you cannot escape it. Your Swarup appears and the Lila appears. And then inside, you live something, and externally nobody sees anything, but there's another atmosphere. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Raghunath Das Goswami. He said, don't be like a madman. Not like a madman. Like a madman, Raghunath Das, he always wanted to escape to meet Mahaprabhu. And he told him, stay here peacefully. Internally, you meditate on me. Externally, you accomplish your duties. This is the Gaudiya Vaishnav method. Externally, we accomplish a sadhana, but internally, our spirit is outside of the sadhana. At the same time, the sadhana is not different, because the Lord, the name and the Lord is the same thing. Nama and Nami. The goal and the name are non-different. But when the name passes in the second place, and the Swarup of the being manifests on the primary plane, then this is real bhajan. This is what we want. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, all of our acharyas, Bhaktisiddhanta, explained that we need a powerful desire. That's what we need. When the desire comes, we want to dance. When desire comes, we want to touch the feet of Radha and Krishna. We want to take them against us. We desire so many things according to our relationship with Radha and Krishna. There's a powerful, powerful thing. You know, just like you're thirsty. If you don't have to drink, it's hot. You don't have anything to drink. You're thirsty. And then water comes closer. This is like this. It's very powerful. The desire must be very powerful. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. This is why the great Vaishnavas, the Lord himself, as Advaita Acharya, he was screaming in the, roaring in the kirtans, because he showed this desire, intense desire. The Lord himself, he comes to roar of desires. It's very powerful. It is explained when the lion roars in the forest, everyone is hypnotized, paralyzed. When Vaitacharya was roaring, everyone was fleeing. This is the Mahaprabhu movement. Mahaprabhu's movement, for certain, it is like just the sound of kartas. He plays like pans, but for others, It is the whole atmosphere of the age of Kali that leaves, that goes away. And when they hear the cymbals and the mridanga, then there's something mystical that manifests itself. Vrindavan manifests itself. There's an atmosphere of mercy. This is why dancing, it's normal we dance. Because dancing means we are conscious of what's happening. We are happy. If we don't dance, if we're not happy, that means we don't understand what's happening. How is that possible not to be happy in such circumstances? You understand this parallel? There's such a great thing that comes down. How can we not be happy? If we're not happy, that means we don't understand what's happening. And if we don't understand, how can we grow the desire? This is why the method of the Vaishnavas What do you want, Mata? But now I don't remember what I was about to say. Okay. We'll start on another direction, on another train. But when we don't understand this mercy, so we are not happy. And if we're not happy, we cannot scream. So the method, the Vaishnav method, is that we must be in association of pure devotees. Why? Because the Vaishnavas, since they understand what's happening, since they experience in different levels, so automatically they will install the atmosphere so that the train starts, the train of understanding, of feelings, of love, of relationship. But it starts by external movements. There's not necessarily feelings, but if you dance for Krishna, feelings will come. Because when Krishna appreciates what you do, automatically you appreciate in your heart. Because appreciation of the deity and of Krishna in the heart is the same. Same time, it's the same thing. As soon as Krishna is satisfied, you'll be happy. And when you're happy dancing, you'd want to dance, dance, dance. And when you stop dancing, you feel something. You're disconnected. Like this. This is ignorance. So this is why dancing is something that is very important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing. The Gopas dance, the Gopis dance. For example, this morning I was reading a pastime in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2nd canto, in the 10th canto. I like the 10th canto because Prabhupada was in last moments, so it's particular to see where Prabhupada was. He was in his bed, he was in his last moments, and in this critical state, it shows you how great a devotee he was. He was really absurd. And in this pastime with Vikrasura, we know that it's difficult for him to even stay one moment in place. You should be more tired to have less energy. You spend more energy, then you're more tired, and then you can stay put. In the Prabhu Bhakti Rasanava explains, the morning it's Balaram. At 6 o'clock in the morning he blows in his horn to wake up all the sakas. And this morning, it is explained like that in the Bhagavatam, Krishna had so much desire to play and picnic that he himself blew in the horn. And all the sakas arrived with their calves and they went to picnic. they went away to picnic. It is explained that the Sakas, they do a lot of games, extremely simple games, because they imitate the animals, the birds, the monkeys. And when we speak imitate, us, when we do this, it's limited. But the Kopas, they can do like monkeys, jump from one vine to the other, because the spiritual body can take all the vitalities, all the, how to say, not the expressions, but the capacities of other living entities. So when the cowherd boys, they play, like with Krishna, like monkeys, we see the same thing with monkeys in the trees, and the monkeys play with the gopas. It is something that makes Krishna laugh quite a lot, because if you are acting like a monkey in a kirtan, if you act like a monkey, automatically you're already happy, because it's something joyful. If you make a heavy head and if you show a funny face, then everyone laughs. So the principle is that we don't have this performance to make people laugh, but in the transcendental world, people can have, the gopas can have special expressions to make the others laugh. The most expert is Madhu Mangal. In Prabhu Bhakti Rasanavad, it's explained when Madhu Mangal, in the evening there's a show in the kingdom, in the palace of Nanda Maharaj. Every night there's a show, and from the side of Radharani there's also a show in her palace, and there are different poets, dancers. Then Madhu Mangal does like funny faces. Everyone laughs. Nobody can resist. People, some are rolling on the ground. It's like hours of laughing. It's like hilarious. And still, since it's happening every night, it is explained in Braj, we don't necessarily have the remembrance of what happened last night. We can have a certain remembrance. For sometimes some gopas, they say, I won't laugh tonight. It's the challenge. You have the gopas there resisting not to laugh. And Madhu Mangal starts to make a funny face and everyone is cracking. And it's worse even. It's worse even. Because when you try to fight against laughing from all your strength, there's something that hits you, then the reaction is worse even. So there are characters like that are extraordinary. And there's also things that disturb Krishna. Because in the dancing, naturally, there's always a question of love. And when the dancers dance, automatically, Krishna can also somehow remember deeply, not somehow, but can deeply remember his beloved Srimati Radharani, and vice versa. From one side, Radha, Krishna's heart is like protected by this love, and from the side of Krishna also, there's a swing in the heart, swinging that love. So there's always a positive and negative that attracts each other, and that meets each other, like in the emotions and the feelings. And so they left, and this day they did a picnic. Before the picnic, they saw on the road, there were cows. They saw on the road a strange phenomenon. It was really weird. And the gopas, they saw it was Aghasura, who took the form of a gigantic python. This explains that his mouth, like the top of his mouth, was touching the clouds. His body was 13 kilometers long. His tongue rolled like a road on the floor. His fangs were just like the peaks of a mountain. His eyes were red. And there was a fragrance like of burned flesh that was coming out of his stomach. And inside looked just like a cavern. It was really dark. And the gopas, when they saw that, they said, oh, Vrindavan is so wonderful. It manifested an area of gaming for us, a playground. And they looked and said, wow, it's weird, this thing. It looks like a gigantic python who wants to swallow us. It must be a new game. So what can we do to this? What can this Asura do against Krishna? So they decided to enter his mouth. And Aghasura, he came to avenge his sister and his brother, Bakasura and Putana. And when the Gopas, in reality the Gopas, they entered knowing it was a big demon. And they were dancing, they were moving around, and they were looking at the beautiful face of Krishna. Krishna was far away, and he was confused a moment. He knew it was a demon. And then when they all entered, Aghasura, he was looking at Krishna. He was waiting for him to enter, because he could not close his mouth until Krishna was there. And finally, what did Krishna do? He entered into the mouth also. And then Aghasura closed his mouth. What did Krishna do? Mystical powers of Krishna. Krishna was starting to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And Aghasura started to grow and grow and grow. He was already touching the sky. It's already good. But then he was growing even more and more. There was a competition. But what can Aghasura do against Krishna? So then at some point he could not grow anymore. And he died of suffocation. What did Krishna do? By his mystic powers, the mouth opened. Yes, because he had to leave with his friends. He had to escape. So the mouth opened, and through a simple gaze, he brought back alive all his friends. Brought back to life. And then the Srimad Bhagavatam explains that there was a radiance in the, like a little, an effulgence in the sky. Aghasura, the soul of Aghasura was in the sky waiting for Krishna. When Krishna came out, the soul of Aghasura, it merged into Krishna. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sanatana Goswami, they explained that Aghasura, he did not have Sayujya Mukti, the impersonal liberation, to merge into Krishna. He received to have the same form as Krishna on heavenly planets, on the Vaikuntha planets. Can you believe this? Mercy of the Lord. Even those who desire to kill him, he gives them his mercy. That's why Krishna, his pastimes are particular. It's true. We see, for example, in certain scriptures, those who hurt living entities, they are chastised for eternity, cursed. But when this Lord comes, we must understand also that all the living entities who participate in his pastimes are no ordinary people. Aghasura comes back every time. Every time he gets killed. And it's a beautiful pastime. So of course, our acharyas explained that all these pastimes, they're different every time. Do you have a question today? Myself, who is not too inspired. Do you have any questions? I see inspiration in the face. Who will ask me a small question? It should not be anything. So the point is that we must absolutely have this deep desire. It's really important. We must understand the words of our songs also when we chant. I know it's not easy, because in the age of Kali, we can learn things without understanding anything. We have little consciousness, little intelligence. We do things without understanding, and that is why we must have like a strong desire. But if we understand, then we can have feelings. You have a question? A pastime? I just shared a pastime. It means you did not listen. The most important is service. We must pray for the experience. It's really important. The transcendental world is a world that is very sweet and very beautiful. We can attain if we have the state of mind of a child. You see Krishna Prasad? He is in the body of a child, but he does not have the spirit of a child. Because otherwise he could meet Krishna. The more you will grow in devotion, and the more lust will stop in you. You see, in a child there's no lust. So, it's the same thing. The more your spiritual state will manifest inside you, the more you'll be conscious of your eternal identity, the more it will take the primary aspect in you, and the more your material nature will be freed. Lust will stop, hatred will stop, the fact of having a position in the material world will dissolve. Just the desire to be with Krishna will manifest itself. It's a high level. It's a high level. It starts in Ruchi. And the small tips at Ruchi, small tips, very small experiences, and a Shakti, more. In fact, the more Krishna becomes present in our life, the more we desire to be with Him. The desire to be with Him is present. And when it becomes very strong, then there's states for Krishna that manifest. At the beginning, it is just like an attraction, but after it is love. And it is when there is love that Krishna reciprocates. This is at this moment that he becomes attracted, and that he can never leave the heart of his devotee. Maharaj was explaining that in one of his classes. And it is extremely particular. Krishna, he does not want to leave his devotee. We meet in a wonderful world, a world where we're always taken by associates, because the experience of the transcendental world is an experience that is mystical. In one, we can be situated in Vrindavan. Clapping of the finger, one clapping. The Goswamis, for example, were speaking, sharing. Sanatan Goswami, when he left his body on the day of Guru Purnima. And the devotees, they had the habit to meet Sanatan Goswami, because Sanatan Goswami was an extraordinary Vaishnava. He was like a soothing, he was like an ointment, he was a solution for the Vaishnavas. He was the center. And when they saw Sanatan Goswami, who left his body, they thought he was in Samadhi. Because great Vaishnavas sometimes, when they chant, for example, they can stop chanting and go in the transcendental world. For example, because the disposition of the body stops, and the traveling is more like internal. How things happen, it's mystical. Because the great Vaishnavas, they are situated on different platforms of consciousness. They can even be manifested in many places simultaneously. So there's something that is extremely difficult to understand. For example, Krishna is in Golaka Vrindavan, he is in Boma Vrindavan at the same time. But that doesn't mean that Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mayi are not there. Dasta Sakis, Radharani, everything manifests with Krishna in Boma Vrindavan. It is just like Govardhan Hill. It manifests partially, but everything manifest in another place, so that Krishna can have his pastimes. And even in Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna has billions of forms. Even the Dham can manifest itself in different places, so that everyone can be satisfied. It's such a place of an extraordinary place. That's why great Vaishnavas, pure devotees, the Mahabhagavats, they can have this experience of the Lord directly in the heart. And it is something that is not obtained by our own strength. It is not like a yogi who start from a ascetic, like austerity will awaken his connection, like opening the chakras. It is, like opening chakras is a mechanical practice of yoga. But this experience of samadhi, it is because we're called. It's different. We're called to Braj. There's a need for us. There's love. When Radha and Krishna love us, that means there is experience. This is why Krishna explains in this verse, Bhaktamamai Janati, that when we have this love for Krishna, then we enter into his pastimes. So he is introduced in his pastimes. So if we observe what is sadhana bhakti, sadhana bhakti, it is a mean that is given for souls who don't have love for Krishna. And it starts by what? Worship, dancing, taking prasad, the fact of giving the mercy to others. Out of this is a mean to attract Krishna's attention. When Krishna is attracted, when Srimati Radharani and Krishna are attracted, automatically after the experience will come. The experience at the beginning means what? The desire. If there's no experience, there's no desire. You understand? For example, if every day we dance and we're happy, every day we'll want to dance. It's natural. We'll dance for what? Because we will feel, it's a need we have, because we'll feel happy. That doesn't mean the desire. That means that there is something that we understand. We need nothing else but dancing. And then we'll understand that the living entity, there is something that operates between me and the Vaishnavas and the deity. There's an interaction. It works because when I dance, remembering Krishna or in front of the deity, I feel a special ecstasy. And automatically what will happen? We will understand that by sadhana we can become happy. So it's not completely pure, but what will happen is that Krishna will make that the experience one day will be pure. We can have an experience. We can understand the transcendental world. We can see the transcendental world. The humor of love can take us. And from then, when true love takes us, and that our reality manifests in the chanting and the dancing, so we will experience truly a state where we find ourselves in Krishna's world, even just by dancing. And so automatically, this desire that is at the beginning just to be happy and good will attract Krishna, because Krishna closes his eyes. It is explained that the Supreme Lord, he closes his eyes on our imperfections. He sees simply the good in us. So if you dance, he says, oh, he dances for me. I will dance with him. This is the nature of the Lord. Krishna is attracted by his devotees, and he closes his eyes on their imperfections. And from there, this sadhana, this spiritual practice, will naturally generate in the living entity a powerful desire. It's just a question of time. The only thing that can make the desire not to manifest is offense to the Vaishnavas. It's the only thing. If you speak wrong about Vaishnavas, If you don't listen to the Vaishnavas, you won't develop taste. And unfortunately, because of pride, even if they have no taste, these devotees, they still continue. Why? Because since they have no taste, the only thing they're looking for is position. And because of that, they're just like on their own, forbidden to taste the nectar. Just for that, you taste nothing. You can even live in the temple, be amongst pure devotees, nothing will happen, because you see faults. You, for example, you don't dance. You say, look at them. They look like enlightened people. It's not like that, Bhakti. You understand? And from there, you offend a group of, like a group of Vaishnavas, not one, like a big group of Vaishnavas. And you find yourself to be just like a snail in behind the temple, like a gargoyle. Goes like this. And you sit on the throne of position, and you don't taste anything for the rest of your life. The only thing you can count is the years you pass in the temple. It's been 13 years, it's been 20 years, it's been 30 years, it's been 40 years, but you never had any experience, a pure experience. And it's sad. So don't be like this. Appreciate the devotees, even if someone has an imperfection. Look how many books he distributes. How it's difficult it is to go on the street. Did you ever do this? Day after day, month after month, year after year, distributing books? It's so difficult. They are heroes, the devotees who do that. So how can we criticize such devotees? But these devotees who criticize, they cannot even distribute 2 books. If you put them in the street, they're crying and undermined. They're on the mind platform. They criticize heroes. We should not be like this. This is the antipode. If you're like this, never you'll have the experience of the desire, never. But all your life, it will just be difficult to wake up, difficult to chant, difficult to dance, difficult. There's only a harshness in you. And you ask, even what you're doing living in a temple, it's not jokes. It's so difficult because you have no choice. Krishna blocks you. You even think from time to time, what am I doing there? This is to tell you. This is just because we criticize others. It's like a viper tongue. It speaks in the corridors. Oh, this person. We must absolutely change our state of mind. It's really important. Let us try to find qualities in others, to have examples. Prabhupada explained, each Vaishnava, we learn from him. He's like our teacher. They're examples for us. This is why we call them Prabhu. Each Vaishnava is a model for us, because each Vaishnava doesn't have a each Vaishnava has a quality that can inspire us. Each Vaishnava has at least one quality that it can inspire us. So, if it inspires us, that means he's the master, Prabhu. Prabhupada said, there's one particular Prabhu to whom all the Prabhus put themselves at his feet. This one we call him Prabhupada. This is the definition of what Prabhupada gave about the name Prabhupada. He said, all the Prabhus are sitting at the feet of the Prabhu. This Prabhu is Prabhupada. He's that personality where all the Prabhus sit at his feet, Prabhupada. It's interesting. Me, for example, I sit myself at the feet of Maharaj or Sudam because every day they distribute books. It's difficult to distribute books, so we're not able to do it. So we sit at their feet. We're not Prabhupadas. You understand? We have personalities who are more advanced than us. This is the idea. We have Prabhus. We have Prabhus around us. And our Supreme Prabhu is Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada, we cannot equal him because as soon as he appears, we understand there's a great difference between him and us. When we dream about Prabhupada, when Prabhupada manifests, we understand there's a great distance between us and him. He's very tolerant, very compassionate. All the qualities are in him. We are good like this with the Supreme Prabhu at his feet. There's no problem, everything is good. This is why we need this contact. It's important. We need to worship a great Prabhu, like Prabhupada. Because sometimes the small Prabhus, we have a kind of a challenge. Oh, he has a quality, but myself also have qualities. We don't feel there's like a big distance between us, between the Karnishta Bhaktas. No, there's no great distance. We have envy amongst each other, but when Prabhupada comes, there's a great distance. It's like an ocean. And then we have our place at his feet. We shut our mouth and we listen. What can I do? Yeah, please, Prabhu, I accept. This is Prabhupada. And this is a side. This is, at the beginning, it's Ashvaidya, means it's strength, power. But in the same way, love of Prabhupada is also very great. More great even than his strength. Strength is perceived in the first time, but then love, and then the form, the attributes, and the place of Prabhupada in the transcendental world will manifest. But it's normal. At the beginning, we see the greatness of the spiritual master. We see the physical, the strength. But when the devotee progresses spiritually, so he can have an internal vision of the spiritual master and engage himself naturally in an intimate service. What is an intimate service? It is to be introduced in the transcendental world. It's not to hit the back of the spiritual master thinking he's our equal. It was an introduction of the feelings. That's it. And naturally, when there's this intimacy that manifests, so there's a particular relationship because there's a projection of the eternal reality in this world. So, between the spiritual master and the disciples, something manifests naturally in a lot of sweetness and intimacy. Because when the Guru reveals his reality and introduces the disciple, he gives himself completely, and the disciple gives himself completely. And what does the spiritual master do? He offers the disciple to the feet of Srimati Radharani. Before to Rupa Manjari, Lalita Sakhi, depending on the rasa of the devotee. But it's an eternal principle. Without Guru, we cannot be introduced into this transcendental world unless we already have our place eternally. And this is very rare. It's really rare. If we try to do like this, it will not work. We'll come to a certain level, but we won't be introduced to Braj. We can develop taste, we can have certain abhas, like a glimpse of certain things, but not introduction in the spiritual world. Gaura Premanande.